Quitting short-form content and doomscrolling was the single best decision of my life. In fact, the psychological effects were similar to being a decade younger. I feel more energetic, I'm sharp, I'm focused, I have a lot more time, I'm a lot more productive, which obviously makes me more money, and probably most important of all, I have a lot more original thoughts and ideas. But is it all positive, or are there actual downsides to not being on social media? Well, I spent the last 4 weeks analyzing research papers and peer-to-peer studies to understand what actually happens to your brain and body when you stop scrolling social media for just 7 days. I interviewed experts in the field and spoke to people who quit social media for good. And the results are actually more insane than you think. And I want to walk you through what actually happens to your brain day by day as you stop doom scrolling. And there's one specific day where things actually change on a physical level on that day, and I'll get into it. But first, let's just start with day 1. So the first thing people notice when they put their phone down and they stop doom scrolling is this vaguely anxious feeling. You get this kind of anxiety, but you're not sure where it's coming from. Like this low-level buzzing feeling where you're not really sure what to do with yourself next because there's this doom scrolling thing that you used to do for a lot of time and it's not there anymore. You keep reaching for your phone out of pure habit, sometimes without even realizing it that you are doing it, and it's uncomfortable. I remember the first time I did this, I picked up my phone like 40 times without even realizing it. And the research backs this up. Studies that tracked young adults throughout 1 week social media break found real reductions in anxiety, sleep problems, and sometimes that's hard to put a number on, but what everyone seems to recognize is the sense of mental noise just being lower. Because of however long you've been scrolling social media feeds, your brain expects that new hit of new information all of the time, regardless of whether you've only been doing it for a month or years. And when that new hit of information doesn't come, it just feels antsy. That's totally normal and usually passes faster than most people think. Now, the other thing that obviously happens on that first day is that you feel a little bit more bored, but not chill kind of bored. It's like an uncomfortable, slightly itchy feeling of boredom, and your thoughts feel way louder than usual. There is a lot of people that give up here, but by the way, this is probably the hardest day out of the 7. So if you sit through it, something insane starts to happen. By day 2, the urge is still there, but you're starting to feel a little bit more energetic again, and now you start to see something more interesting. You start to notice when you want to scroll, like you see which moments exactly. And for most people, it's not random, it shows at particular times, mostly when you're avoiding something, when there's a gap in the day and you're not sure what to do next, or when you're sitting down to eat lunch and there's no YouTube in front of you. And that's actually useful information because you realize that your phone wasn't really the problem, it was just the thing that you were using to fill those gaps. And removing the phone doesn't remove the gap, it just means that you actually have to sit with it. Scientists who study this stuff call it boredom vulnerability, and it sounds very clinical, but what it means is pretty simple. When there is nothing to do, the pull toward your phone is at its strongest. And right now on day 2, those moments feel restless. You might feel like you're missing something even though probably nothing important happened. That feeling is real, but the good news is that it's very temporary. And then day 3 will probably have the most impact on you and your brain. Day 3 is when your tolerance and focus start to come back, but it's also when people hit a bit of a wall actually. So that initial novelty of I'm doing this new challenge is wearing off a little bit now. And the big transformation hasn't arrived just yet, so most people feel like giving up. And if you can get through day 3, the next few days get significantly easier and better. What's actually happening is that your brain is finally getting a real break from getting constant inputs and new information. When you scroll every few seconds, there's something new, a new face, a new opinion, something funny, something upsetting, something to react to, and your brain has been running on that pattern constantly. And now it's starting to get these long stretches of nothingness where nothing is demanding its attention. And the thing is, your brain is really good at processing things and getting back to default settings when you let it to. On day 3, you might also notice that you're able to sit with tasks for longer than usual. You're not switching between tabs, you're not switching between tasks, you're actually sitting down and focusing on a subject. Not dramatically longer, but just a little bit. This is still just day 3. But it means that your tolerance and focus is slowly coming back. Day 4, this is when you start to feel like time is slowing down again. You have more time, you feel this childish like excitement, which people start describing as just being a little bit more present, I guess. There's something else that tends to happen around day 4, which is that people start restructuring small parts of their routine kind of naturally. Like you finish your dinner and instead of by default going to your phone and scrolling social media feed, you just go for a walk or you talk to family members or you call up a friend, which then helps you sleep much better and then rest much better later, which then makes you feel better in the morning, and then tomorrow after that, you feel a lot better throughout the day. You're more energetic and you have a lot more motivation to do other things. The science on this is interesting. One study tracked that salivary cortisol levels in people who gave up on a major social media platform for 5 days and found measurable reductions in psychological stress. So even when you don't dramatically feel different, your brain is changing right now and you should stick with this. Now, what helps on day 4 is just being more strategic of how you use that free time to make sure you don't just slip back into scrolling your phone. Exercise is a good use of it. Going for a walk is a good use of it. Doing something related to art or something creative is a good use of that time. And there are also the things that push your well-being forward rather than just being things that replace doom scrolling for the sake of replacing it and then being neutral. Now, day 5 is where you feel much better and much more sharp and focused. And the cravings have started to quiet down. They're not gone, but they've lost some urgency. And this is also when something kind of unusual starts to happen, where some people feel some sort of a dip, like some flatness. And what happens to you, it's usually because you've been using the feed for some amount of actual social connection, keeping up with people, feeling like part of something. And without that, there's a gap that hasn't been filled yet with anything real. The fix to that is obvious in theory, but slightly annoying in reality. And that's to just start to reach out, like actually talk to people directly. And that can feel like more effort than it's worth, especially if you're used to ambient social connections through the screen. But the quality of connection you get by actually speaking to someone in real life or just reaching out and talking on a phone with them directly is a lot stronger than just keeping up with their life based on what they're posting on Instagram stories. Also, sleep at this point is significantly better for 99% of people. You have deeper sleep, you feel more rested in the morning, which gives you more energy and makes you feel a lot more motivated next day, given you didn't replace doom scrolling with more coffee. There's plenty consistent evidence that the type of content you're consuming right before sleep, especially stuff that provokes emotional reactions, affect how your brain enters sleep. Take that away and the whole wind down process feels a lot better. Day 6 is very dangerous. It's where a lot of people either lock in or slip up, because by now the novelty of this experiment and challenge has completely worn off. You even forgot that you watched this entire video in 6 days from now. And now what you're left by day 6 is just normal life without this old habit, which was highly stimulating. And look, life has gaps in it, moments waiting, moments of not knowing what to do next. And if you haven't built something for those moments yet within the first 5 days, you will most likely naturally slip back into scrolling your phone. Your brain will come up with some excuse, like there is no real benefit to not scrolling or whatever. It will pull some lies to you and you will slip up and go back to it, which sucks. You see, the research on 7-day detox attempts shows pretty consistently that the late week phase is a really tricky one, and then people who slip tend to do it around this point. Now, what's actually useful at this point is just asking yourself, what's the most viable minimum option that I could be okay with? Because obviously you're not going to quit social media forever, and I don't ask you to do that. It's just to change the relationship with it. So instead of thinking about getting through day 6, think about what rule you'd actually keep after this week is done. Is it no scrolling 1 hour before bed, which is something I really recommend? Or is it not touching your phone for the first 4 hours of the morning, waking up and not checking what's going on in other people's lives, but focusing on your life for the first 4 hours and then only checking your phone around lunch? Or maybe just having 60 minutes a day where you can, a window where you check your phone and just filling everything in that 1 hour, dedicating 1 hour to only that task of checking your phone and letting your monkey brain go all over the feed. Now, by day 7, most people describe something that's hard to fully explain until you felt it, a kind of quietness in the mind that wasn't there before. Your thoughts feel more like yours. You're able to come up with things that are unique. You have unique ideas and thoughts, and you're not just regarding everything that everyone else sees on their feed. Because if you're seeing something on your feed, chances are your friends and family have also seen the exact same thing. And for something to show up on your feed consistently, it had to have gone mainstream, meaning that everyone else has the same opinion opinion on it, everyone else saw the same thing. And if you're trying to build something that stands out and is unique, you can't really be consuming the same thing as everyone else, because subconsciously it does affect how you think long after you leave your phone. So when you don't touch your phone for 7 days, you'll see a massive difference in the quality of your thoughts and ideas. Also, this habit has way less grip if you really pushed through day 7. But the most important thing on day 7 is what you do next. Because if you just go back to full access to your feed the way you did before, the habit comes back pretty fast, and this challenge was pretty much for nothing. Again, for me, I just made a rule that I can only check social media feeds for 1 hour a day after lunch, and it's only accessible through my laptop or PC, not my phone. That could be a little bit more dramatic, but I really care about my brain and about my ideas and thoughts, so that's what I do. You don't have to disappear from social media or throw your phone away in a lake. I do sometimes enjoy checking my screen from a computer. You just have to stop letting your brain have unlimited access to this thing, which was deliberately built to make you spend as much time as possible. People designing this spend hours and billions of dollars to think how they can create these algorithms to steal as much of your attention as possible. So try to fight back a little bit. And it turns out that 7 days is more than enough time to feel psychological difference and physical difference when you stop.